BRUCE ARIANS has come under fire recently. People are complaining that he hasn't adapted to Tom Brady's play style and he's too stubborn to make adjustments. There's a lot of truth to this, but there wasn't last game, which is why I find the timing of this very bizarre to me. I actually think that you can make an argument that against Kansas City, that was Tampa Bay's best called game of the season, at least in terms of X's and O's. Now that being said, there's still plenty to criticize, and so I kind of wanted to make a video talking about which part of the narratives I think are fair and that Tampa Bay does need to improve on, and which part I think that are just crazy, and I think that Tampa Bay is actually doing a better job than the national media is saying that they do. Let's start off with this play. So this is going to be a 3rd down and 3 situation. For Kansas City, they're going to be just playing cover 0. They're going to blitz. This is what Kansas City did a lot. They blitzed a lot against Tampa Bay, and it makes some sense because Tampa Bay is horrible at picking up blitzes. I mean, that's easily the thing they are worst at right now. Forget about their play calling, about Brady missing the deep shots, about them giving up over 200 yards to Tyreek Hill in the first quarter. No, picking up the blitz is what Tampa Bay really struggles at, and this play is a good example of it. Because as you see, the halfback is going to be running a very key route here. You know, he's running the wheel route towards the bottom of the screen, and then with Godwin running a slant route over the middle, this is going to be a one-on-one matchup, and this is where Brady wants to throw the ball to. But with a 6-man rush, there's only 5 offensive linemen, so you would ideally like the halfback to actually be helping pick up the blitz. Why can't Tampa Bay do that here? Because their halfback is Antonio Brown, who I don't think they want him just being someone who's picking up blitzes. They've done this a few times, have Antonio Brown be in the backfield as sort of a pass-catching back. A big reason for it is because really, basically, Ronald Jones is a good runner, and Leonard Fournette isn't really great at much of anything. Neither one of them can blitz protect, and neither one of them can really catch out of the backfield. So at least at Brown, you get someone who can catch out of the backfield on 3rd downs. But once this play starts, as you see, I mean, Brady basically just has to throw one up and hope for the best because there's pressure immediately. And, you know, him and Brown were on the same page there because, you know, Brady's had trouble getting on the same page with these receivers already, which again makes some sense. It's their first year, but still, this is, you know, your 12th game at this point. You would hope that you'd be a little bit better at that. But yeah, I mean, that's a fair criticism, I think, of Tampa Bay. They do this all the time where there's constantly immediate pressure whenever the opposing team blitzes. However, that being said, offensively for Tampa Bay, things were actually going a lot better early on than you would think just by looking at the box score because they kept getting stalled on 3rd downs. But a lot of these 3rd downs were just kind of fluky plays that didn't work out. Like on this one, it's going to be man coverage. Again, this is the cover 0, and again, for Tampa Bay, now they're in 5 wide. So Kansas City is trying to get this immediate pressure right here. That's what they're trying to do. Now, one thing Tampa Bay did was they have Rob Gronkowski blocking on this play. Pretty much after that one, they did start to try and get a little bit better at it. Still not great. It's not what they do well, but they at least made somewhat of an effort in this game, which they didn't do against New Orleans, so you got to give them some credit for that. Again, people complain about in-game adjustments. There's an in-game adjustment. But you're going to have Mike Evans running a curl route past the 1st down marker. This is the route that Brady likes. Brady's going to look to throw this ball there because that makes sense. On paper, this is smart. Brady takes the snap, and he's going to fire one on Mike Evans, but they're just not on the same page. You see Evans stops his route a little bit early. Tony Romo did a great job of calling that out live as it happened. Romo did a great job calling this game just entirely because he's Tony Romo. But yeah, that is a real thing where, you know, again, they're not on the same page. If you also want to look, Antonio Brown, who is the other receiver on the top of the screen, was, you know, he got wide open. But again, Mike Evans got open too. He was open. They just weren't on the same page there, really. So if they're on the same page, that's a 1st down. And we're still seeing these things happen this late into the season. So it is fair to criticize that they're still not getting on the same page this late into the season. But again, the optimistic side says, well, maybe they can finally get on the same page after the bye week once, you know, they got a few weeks left to get on the same page and, you know, really limit these mistakes as much as possible. And then it's a completely different game because that was a lot of wide drives stalled in the 1st quarter. So much so, in fact, that Kansas City stopped playing man coverage. They went to zone coverage because they were saying, even though we're getting stops, this isn't working. We have to change things here. And that's a huge way Tampa Bay was able to take advantage. Take a look at this one, for example. It's going to be a cover 2 zone, and for Tampa Bay, they have a pretty good concept that can beat this cover 2 zone. It's a zone blitz. Again, Kansas City, they're trying to blitz. And Tampa Bay did a much better, I keep saying this, on this play, for example, there is still no one helping out, but their offensive line just going to do a good job of picking up the blitz. And also, the way this concept works is that you have a receiver running a deep route to Brady's left. That's going to take away the safety in that side of the field. And with Mike Evans running a curl route on the right side of the screen, say what you want about Mike Evans and his down year, but opposing teams still respect him. They've been doubling him, consistently pretty much every game. So this now means for Gronkowski, he's just going to run straight up the middle, and with both safeties kind of peeling off, this could be a good situation. Brady takes the snap, he's going to look up, and you see Gronkowski's just completely wide open. These are the things that Bruce Arians likes to do, and he hasn't really had an opportunity to call these types of plays too often because opposing teams have been playing a lot of man coverage. And and listen, this is also something that Brady likes. So this is, people talk about which scheme should they use. Well, this scheme both teams like to do, or both guys like to do, so it's not too difficult. This play works. Brady is able to hit Gronkowski. They pick up a big gain just like that. They could then run zone busters, which are not Bruce Arians' specialty. Bruce Arians does not like zone busters. Bruce Arians likes just get open on your own type of plays. Brady loves these zone busters, and clearly, as you see, Arians is making this adjustment. Is it too late? Probably. He probably should have figured this out earlier, but you know what? Let's not punish positive behavior, right? Let's reward positive change instead of getting mad at positive change for being too late. That's my opinion on it. This is a cover 2 zone without a blitz this time. You have Mike Evans who's running a route over the middle, and then you're going to have Ronald Jones sort of run underneath. And these things can really work out because Mike Evans can take away a player, and then Jones can simply just get to where that player was supposed to be and pick up some yards. Watch, Brady takes a snap, he fakes a handoff, which, again, another thing people have complained about is play actions, which makes some sense. They run play action 18%, which, league average is around 25%, so people, at least in terms of throwing plays, so you would like to see them throw the ball, run play action a little bit more, but still. It's nice to see them do that more, and now you see Evans has completely taken away a defensive back, so Brady can hit Ronald Jones, and you can easily pick up some yards here. Jones is going to make the grab, and he's able to turn up field and do an incredible job of staying in bounds and getting a touchdown. That's really good. So again, he's not the best receiving back, but as long as he can make the catch, he can do good things after the catch. And so, good job by him. And that's a Brady play. So, Arians is making the adjustment. So, that's why I don't really understand these criticisms coming now. These criticisms should have came last week. Because last week, that's when I was really annoyed about it. But I'm seeing these changes get made. And is it too late? Yes, but it's happening, and that's okay. Let's talk about play action a bit, because their play action is down. It's also not working. The running game hasn't really been consistent all season. It just hasn't. And so teams really do have the mindset of, if we think that they're running play action, or we think there's even a chance there's play action, we're going to stay back because we're okay with giving up a 4 or 5 yard run. Because oftentimes it still will only be a couple yards, even if the linebackers don't crash in and don't sell out to stop the run. Like, take a look at this one. It's a cover 3 zone that Kansas City is in, so Tampa Bay is running play action, and they have Gronkowski running over the middle. That's what they want to have happen here. And watch Kansas City's linebackers. They are going to do an incredible job on this one. As you see, they stay back, they don't get fooled by the play action, but the play still works. So that's the interesting thing, right? Because on one hand, the play actions tend to not really be fooling linebackers too much. The one way they can help is they have full defensive linemen. And so that's one of the other things that I feel like people often don't talk about as much, but that can also help with play action. And so maybe they need to run more play action just for that, even if the linebackers aren't getting fooled. I think this is why Tampa Bay hasn't been running much play action, is because they kind of feel like it's a waste of time. And in fairness, they have been getting blitzed a lot, and you don't want to run play action. If it's a cover 0 blitz, that's just a recipe for disaster. You'll probably get sacked immediately. So I get it, and this is a team that probably shouldn't run more play action, but maybe just run these types of the concepts and just don't have the play action as well. You can do that, and so that's kind of what I want to see Tampa Bay do, or run more just quick play actions like this one was, where it was just a quick handoff, so that way even if there was a blitz, Brady could quickly get up and make a throw. And it wasn't all good, right? It really wasn't all good. In the second half, they had that slow start with a lot of sort of just weird third down plays, but then they started scoring a lot. But then in the second half, there were those 2 interceptions. So let's talk about what went wrong on those 2 picks. The first one is something I've already talked about. It's bad blitz pickup. I mean, this is something that just plagued the team, but this time it's not coaching. It's not, someone doing their job wrong. They just did their job poorly. As you see, this is one of those BRUCE Arians, receivers running deep routes type of plays. There's a blitz for Kansas City. It's off the edge. And so Ronald Jones is supposed to help pick up the blitz here. And to the people wondering why doesn't Ronald Jones get more playing time, it's because he sucks at picking up blitzes. Like, he's really bad at it. As good of a runner as he is, he's equally bad of a blitz pick-upper, and that's a real problem when teams know that. So Brady takes the snap. He's going to take his drop back, and as you see, I mean, Jones does a terrible job of making this pickup. So now Brady has to make a decision right now. He doesn't have time to wait. He has to throw this ball immediately. It's a 1st down and 10. So Brady could just throw this one into the dirt, but again, he wants to make a throw. I do think that Brady should have just thrown this one into the dirt. I think that it sucks that you lose this play, but Brady is going to try and make a play here, which again, that's part of the BRUCE Arians no risk it, no biscuit strategy. I'm sure BRUCE Arians says, hey, don't be afraid to take a chance. In this moment, though, I do think this is the play where you probably shouldn't take this chance. Especially when it's Scotty Miller going up one-on-one against Bashaud Breeland. I mean, that's a matchup nightmare for Tampa Bay. You don't want to deal with that. That's a bad matchup, and that's the route that's closer to the top of the screen. There is another route that's, better against these types of coverages that could get open, and, I think Brady probably should have looked at that. I believe that's Tyler Johnson. I couldn't really get a good look at the number, but I'm pretty sure that's 18, which is Tyler Johnson, which that's definitely where Brady should throw the ball to. But as you see, he throws it up to Scotty Miller. The pressure makes it for not a great throw. It gets intercepted. That's definitely not good. He should have thrown to Johnson, but at the same time, he didn't have time because Ronald Jones couldn't block. And it becomes a snowball effect in these types of things. So, again, to me, that's just players not executing, and it's a problem. And I do think you can blame Brady to some degree, but I'm also not going to kill Brady because at the same time, you got to make that block. I think really the number one problem on that play was Ronald Jones. The other interception was this one. It's a cover 2 zone blitz again. And because of this zone blitz, they're kind of trying to fool Brady at the line. And Evans, who's just going to, run a quick route right here. This is sort of the hot route, the one that Brady wants to hit quickly. Really, this is a good situation for Tampa Bay because a linebacker who's covering the zone that's going to be right near where Mike Evans' route is, he's currently lined up on the line, so this is a good situation for Tampa Bay. Watch, Brady takes the snap, and you see Evans is just completely wide open. There is, however, pressure immediately on Brady again, because this goes back to that poor job of blitz protection, where the reason why I have a problem with this is there were 5 offensive linemen, and still, despite that, you still have an unblocked rusher, despite there being 5 players rushing the quarterback. Yes, these things do happen, but they just happen far too much for Tampa Bay. Guys don't know what to do, and, you can't leave an edge rusher completely unblocked. So Brady hurries the throw, which results in it getting, off of someone's helmet and then intercepted. It's bad luck, but it's bad luck because of poor blitz protection. And, again, that's by far and away the biggest problem that this team is facing. I think if this team had good blitz protection, they win this game easily. I really think it was that big of a difference. So let's recap. Does BRUCE Arians deserve blame? He deserves some blame, for sure. You can't deny that. I mean, they run the ball on over 50% of first downs in the first 3 quarters, and advanced statistics say that you shouldn't run the ball as much on first down, and on top of that, Tampa Bay isn't very good at running the ball on first down, so there's just certain stats like that just show that, they need an analytics department, really, because it's crazy they don't have one. They deserve criticism for that. Does Tom Brady deserve criticism? He deserves some. Again, I think Brady has exceeded my own personal expectations. The guy's 43. He's still playing well. He's certainly a top half of the league quarterback now. He's not a top 5 quarterback, but, this Tampa Bay offense, they're currently 4th in the NFL in touchdowns. Like, they do a decent job. They need to not turn the ball over so much, and they haven't done what maybe the expectations were, but it hasn't been a complete disaster either. And as for making adjustments, I thought they did a fine job. I don't know. I don't get what people are talking about. I thought that this was a fine job in terms of X's and O's. To me, the biggest criticisms I have of this team are blitz protection, which is a bit X's and O's, but it's mostly talent, I think. That's just what I think. And you can put some of it on coaching of these guys not knowing where to block, but Again, I think that's fair to say, but that's not an X's and O's thing. That's just you got to coach up your offensive line to have higher football IQ. You could blame the receivers and Brady for still not being on the same page, despite the fact that we're now 3/4 of the way through the season. I also think that's fair. I think that's a fair criticism to have of the coaching staff. To me, that does fall on coaching just as much as it falls on the players. It really does. I think the X's and O's are fine, though. Maybe you guys disagree. Let me know in the comments below why. I think the X's and O's have greatly improved, and Bruce Arians even said that Tom Brady calls all the plays now. They just call what he picks. So that's pretty crazy to me as well. And again, I still think there's a combination, but I do believe that if Brady said, I don't like that play, cut it out, they're going to cut it out. And I think they probably have done that. And lastly, as for Bruce Arians calling out the players in the press conference, it literally doesn't matter to me. I don't think it matters in the slightest. And I've always said this. All I care about is what I see on tape. I couldn't care less about what I hear in the press conference unless it's a question giving me information for what I see on tape. Bruce Arians said that some of the throws were Tom Brady's fault. He'll be fine. He's 43. He's an adult. Stop getting offended for him if he's not offended. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.